Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more.
While in my bedroom, I was testing out the new skirt I recently purchased when my brother unexpectedly entered. Given that I was dressed in panties, pantyhose, a bra, and the skirt, I couldn't simply brush it off as a joke. Considering we don't have any sisters, it was clear I bought the attire for myself. "That's a lovely skirt," he commented, followed by a grin, "and you've got great legs too." He was correct on both points. The skirt was indeed lovely, and I did possess attractive legs. Since we were alone at home and there was nothing to lose, I boldly asked if he wanted to see more. "As long as it doesn't take too much time, sure," he replied. He waited while I promised to call him, and once he departed, I headed to the bathroom to apply some makeup. I dabbed on some eyeshadow and soft brown eyeliner, already having foundation on. After slipping into a blouse, tucking it into the skirt, and quickly brushing through my naturally curly hair, I pinned a barrette and applied pink lipstick before entering his room. His initial reaction was to stand up, a customary gesture for any woman, followed by an astonished gasp. Jeff was older than me, heading towards college and then medical school due to his assertive, class-A personality, ensuring his success in medical college. At 16, I lacked a life plan, managing to navigate through classes with good grades but lacking direction. Unlike Jeff, who stood over 6 feet tall, I measured 5 feet 7 inches and weighed a swift 140 pounds after a hearty meal, compared to his 220. His striking clear blue eyes attracted attention from girls, while my own were a muted brown. He seemed to inherit all the desirable traits, leaving me with what remained. He embodied masculinity, whereas I found solace in dressing as a girl, yet he never belittled me for it. He didn't praise it either, nor did he ever demand it. He simply accepted it. "Does Mom know?" he asked. "I handle all my laundry, so I'll say no, but..." "She's aware, Brian. Has she seen you lately?" "Not that I know of, or could prevent." "Maybe you should let her see you, like you did for me." "Maybe," was the most I could muster before retreating to my room to change, only to find Mom standing there. "Hello, Brenda." Hi, Mom." It had been almost 3 years since Mom last saw me dressed like this, and I anticipated a lecture, but she remained remarkably calm. "I was just about to change." "You don't have time to change, Brenda. My date is on his way over right now, so you'll have to meet him as you are." "Mom, you're the one who got all dolled up, Brenda," she remarked, eyeing me. "You look lovely, dear. Put on some perfume and join Jeffrey and me in the family room." That's where I was when her date arrived. I was introduced as her daughter, then they left. I returned to my room, took a shower, and changed. In the morning, there was no mention of my attire until Jeff left for work. "Jason thinks you're adorable and wants to feature you in one of his ads. So you didn't tell him I'm your son?" "Of course not. He believes I have a son and a daughter, and is interested in having my daughter feature in one of his ads." "How could I reveal that you're a boy?" "What kind of ad?" "I have no clue, but he suggested we stop by later today so he can take some photos to see how you look on camera." "Great. He thinks I'm your daughter, and now you want me to keep up this act?" "Brenda, when you were 7 or 8, playing dress-up in my clothes was adorable. When you were 14, attending Halloween parties 6 times in a year, it was intriguing, and I was a bit worried. Now you're 16, old enough to know better, yet there you were last night, dressed up once more. You enjoy dressing as a girl, and we both acknowledge it. Now, it seems someone finds you attractive enough to potentially model. You have nothing to lose by giving it a shot, so go change and be prepared as soon as you can." "But I haven't been out of the house since I was 14. "Then it's about time, isn't it?" Mom wore that familiar apprehensive expression and inquired about my attire. "Just what I wore last night, I suppose. A denim skirt, and a sundress." "That won't do at all. I'll pick out something for you. Go get prepared." I rushed to my room and hopped into the shower, shaving meticulously, and washing my hair with conditioner to soften it for styling. After showering, I slipped into some panties and began applying makeup. With my mother's fair complexion, I needed minimal foundation. I dusted on translucent powder, allowing it to set before brushing away the excess. I applied a soft green eyeshadow on the outer edge of my upper lid, followed by earth tones blended together, and a softer plum shade beneath the brow. For eyeliner, I opted for a deep sable black liquid on my eyelids and a black pencil under my eyes. A peach rose blend adorned my cheeks. Usually, I wore my shoulder-length hair in a ponytail, but today seemed different, so I called for Mom. She swiftly led me to her room and began setting my hair in rollers with setting gel. Soon, I found myself under the dryer while she shaped my nails into an elegant oval and painted them pink. By the time my hair dried, my nails were done, and Mom handed me a dress. I went back to my room and slipped on my padded panty brief and pantyhose, then my bra. My homemade birdseed silicone forms, one in each cup, gave me a small B cup. The dress went over my head, and as I zipped it up I felt the material closing around me until I managed to get the zipper closed. The dress was a black sheath with a round neck, sleeveless, the hem just above my knees. I went back in Mom's room and she brushed my hair out. When she was done, I had a simple page boy with the ends rolled under. Mom gave me some black earrings which I fastened to my ears, and then a small gold necklace. "Do your lipstick and so on, Brenda. I'll be ready in a minute." I applied pink lipstick, sprayed on some Obsession perfume, and slipped into my black heels. Retrieving my black purse from the closet, I packed it with all my essentials, including lipstick and tissues. Mom, as stunning as ever, adorned herself in a pink suit paired with an antique white sheer blouse and grey heels. After inspecting me closely, she handed me a red jacket, declaring me ready, and we headed to the ad agency. Jason Miller greeted us at the door with a kiss on each cheek. I followed behind as he led us into the elevator, ascending to the top floor of the building. "Mary will guide you, Brenda. Just follow her lead," he instructed. Mary greeted me with a smile and a handshake before leading us into a fully equipped studio prepared for my session. "If there's anything you're uncomfortable with, just let us know, and we'll find an alternative," Mary assured me. "Thank you, Mary, I appreciate it," I replied. There was only one moment when they requested something I hesitated about, but eventually, I complied. I lifted my dress to reveal most of my legs. After the shoot, Mary escorted me to a cozy coffee room. "You're one of the most impressive male models I've ever worked with, Brenda," Mary complimented me. I paused, unsure whether to ask why she perceived me as male, and she sensed my hesitation. "It's your gracefulness, Brenda. That's how I knew. Nonetheless, you're absolutely fantastic. Dave is dating my mother, Mary, and he believes I'm her daughter. Then it'll be our little secret, all right?" I hugged her tightly, and we finished our coffee before rejoining Mom and Jason. Until now, Mom hadn't said much about my penchant for dressing as a girl, and I had the freedom to dress or not as I pleased. But now, we were entangled in a significant deception, and Mom was fond of Jason. If he were to discover the truth about me, it could jeopardize their relationship, and potentially strain mine with Mom as well. If he chose me as the girl he desired, I'd have to be flawless every time, which would be quite challenging, especially with the pressures of high school still weighing on me. These thoughts swirled in my head as they arrived. Jason spread all the pictures on the table like a fan. I wanted all of them. They were impeccable, capturing me in the most flattering light and poses, making me look better than ever. "You're absolutely stunning in these photos, Brenda. You're incredibly photogenic and beautiful." Mary indicated the photos she favored, and Jason mentioned that he needed to present them to the staff. "If they approve, we'll likely extend an offer, possibly by the week's end. I only had this week available before returning to school. Keep us informed, Jason." "Thank you." As I departed, he handed me all the copies on the table. "This is very bad, Mother. If they like me, and make me an offer, just how do I manage things after that? I can't just pop in after school, can I? What if they want me to wear a bikini, or hot pants, or show some chest? This can get very messy very quickly, Mom. Jason is aware you're a boy, Brenda. I had to inform him while you were in the studio. It took some consideration, but I decided to tell him. What was his reaction? He was understandably surprised, but he found humor in it and laughed. He assured me it didn't matter because you're still stunning, and he wants you for his next promotion. But what about school? I can't just switch from being Brian one day to Brenda the next. Imagine the chaos that would ensue. And besides, I'll have to maintain a consistent level of femininity at all times, especially since the ads will likely require me to appear with certain physical attributes. This will be incredibly challenging, Mother. I hope you realize that. I understand the challenges, Brenda. Let's take it one step at a time. We'll wait for a response from Jason. If they decline, everything will continue as usual without any issues. Mom's words resonated with truth, yet if they did choose me for this opportunity, I'd find myself in quite a predicament. All I wanted was to dress up occasionally, feel beautiful, maybe attend a costume party now and then. But now, all I could do was wait. I could reject the offer and carry on with my life, but the potential income was tempting. All I had to do was embrace a feminine persona. Back in my room, I chuckled as I touched my birdseed silicone forms. They provided the right contours, but the only thing nibbling on them would be a bird. I changed out of the dress into a denim skirt and blouse, then headed to the kitchen for a soda. Mom was there with Jeff, recounting the morning's events and showing him the pictures. "Hey, sis." "Hi, Jeff," I replied, taking a seat at the table, observing his reaction as he glanced at the pictures. "Those are some really good pictures, Brenda. Thanks. It's going to be quite intriguing to see you pull this off, especially when Jenny sees you." Jenny was my current girlfriend. I know you'll argue, but unbiasedly, I think you look better than she does. Perhaps, but she can wear whatever they ask her to, and I can't. Not yet, anyway, Mom interjected, but perhaps in the future. I returned to my room, my mother's words echoing in my mind, maybe later. And I understood her implication perfectly. Altering my body was never part of any plan I had, but I'll admit, in my fantasies, I pondered what it would be like to possess a female physique, large chest, even experiencing periods. In a way, I envied women and yearned to emulate them. But to transition fully into a woman? That was a whole different story, as it would upheave every aspect of my life, my relationship with Jeff, my mother, my friends, and of course, the rest of the family. Staring at my reflection in the mirror, I meticulously scrutinized my flaws, which seemed endless. My beard was relatively light, hardly leaving a shadow despite shaving daily. Though my body hair was sparse, it grew rapidly in certain areas like under my arms. I had yet to develop any back hair, unlike Jeff, but I feared it might sprout at any moment. My chest was slightly plump, and my waist was just an inch smaller than my chest. One of my few physical assets, according to Jenny, was my cute bubble butt. My shoulder-length hair was a drab mouse brown, grown out to facilitate my transformation into Brenda. Despite longing to change its color, I lacked the courage. My features were unremarkable in terms of gender: a small nose, a rounded chin devoid of Jeff's cleft, almost almond-shaped eyes that, with makeup, appeared wide-set. I inherited my fair complexion from my mother, which made it easier to achieve a natural look with minimal makeup whenever I assumed the persona of Brenda. But I was always plagued by fear when dressed as Brenda. Fear of judgment, fear of discovery if I ventured outside, except for the safety of a party, and fear that someone might uncover my deep-seated enjoyment of being Brenda. Now, that night, neither Mom nor Jeff said anything when I appeared in one of Mom's nightgowns. The next morning, as I reverted to my usual self, I half expected a remark from them, but they remained silent. I called Jenny just to chat, only to learn that she had been in an accident the previous night and was hospitalized. I informed Jeff and Mom before driving to the hospital to see her. Though it was meant to be family only, her mother allowed me inside. Jenny lay in bed with closed eyes, a large bandage covering her head, 4s inserted in various places, and 3 monitors displaying her condition through a series of lights and graphs. She lay motionless, resembling a corpse, yet her chest rose and fell with each breath. Her arm and both legs were encased in casts. Her mother gripped my arm tightly, tears streaming down her face, and I offered her a comforting embrace. Her father and brother are gone, Brian. She's all I have left now. Her sobs racked her body as I held her, but no words could alleviate her pain, no magic could restore Jenny to her former self. All I could offer was empathy and my own sorrow for Jenny. I cared for her deeply, and we were close friends, so seeing her in this state tore at my heart. As we stood there, the monitors began to beep and a bell chimed urgently. Glancing up, I saw the graphs flatten into a single, ominous line. Nurses and doctors flooded into the room, ushering us out as they attempted to revive her. 3 days later, we gathered for the funeral. Jenny was laid to rest beside her father and brother, clutching her favorite doll. The strains of Amazing Grace drifted on the breeze as her casket was lowered into the ground, mingling with the sounds of grief from her friends and family as we bid our final farewells. Alongside my mother and Jeff, we drove to her home for the wake, my cheeks still damp with tears at the thought of her. While her mother had somewhat recovered from the initial shock, the pain of her loss lingered in her eyes. We embraced, tears mingling, until she invited me to join her on the patio. "I want you to have Jenny's belongings, Brian, all of them." I gazed at her, puzzled by her words. "I'm selling the house and moving closer to my sister, Brian. Jenny mentioned your hobby to me. You might find something that could be of use to you, or perhaps something to cherish as a memento of Jenny, like her locket." I had gifted Jenny a locket engraved with her initials on her birthday. "Come over in a few days, and we can arrange everything, Brian." On the drive home, the only thing that lingered in my mind was her mention of Jenny knowing about my hobby, leaving me to wonder how Jenny had discovered it. Despite my caution, she somehow knew. After waiting a few days, I called her, and that evening, Mom and I visited the house. Boxes cluttered every corner, with a for sale sign displayed in the front yard. She welcomed us in, and as we sat down, she looked me squarely in the eye and expressed her desire for me to take possession of all of Jenny's clothing, jewelry, furniture, shoes, dolls, and so on. "What makes you believe that Brian should have all of her belongings, Linda?" It was the same question I had in mind. When he and Jenny attended that last costume party, I barely recognized him, Carol. Later, Jenny confided in me that even some of the other attendees failed to recognize him, and 2 other boys even flirted with him. It was true, a detail I hadn't shared with Mom. She also mentioned that no boy could look that stunning unless he truly desired it, and I have to agree. With Jenny being the only girl in the family, I have no one else to pass her belongings to, Brian. If Jenny was correct, then make use of what you can and donate the rest. Linda, Mrs. Whiting, began to cry once more, prompting Mom to lead her into the kitchen, leaving me alone. I made my way to Jenny's room. Her room still carried the lingering fragrance of her perfume, evoking memories of days gone by. Dolls of various kinds adorned her bed and shelves, her bed meticulously made in pink and white hues, while her wardrobe overflowed with clothes. Many of her clothes would likely fit me perfectly, all I had to do was claim them. Mom found me there and held my hand. "You don't have to take them, Brian." "Yes, I do, Mother. Even if I decide to give them all away, Linda needs me to accept them, so I will." With Jeff and Mom's assistance, we packed up Jenny's entire room and transported it to our house. The following day, Mrs. Whiting departed. As I unpacked the clothes, Mom ran them through the washer to remove the scent of Jenny's perfume. With Jeff's help, we arranged Jenny's bed in my room, relocating mine to the basement. While it might seem eerie to some, Mom and I had discussed it extensively, and I concluded that it was simply clothing and furniture, nothing more. Although her memory lingered, I pressed forward, trying on the clothes, keeping some and discarding others. All of Jenny's undergarments and shoes were discarded. By the time we finished, I had acquired an impressive wardrobe, ranging from skirts and blouses to dresses of all styles, as well as suits and coats. Once everything was neatly hung up, Mom informed me that I had a message from Jason. They offered me the opportunity to feature in the ads. Now came the tough decision I had to make. I possessed the desire to do it, along with all the clothes, but not the physique. Linda mentioned that she knew the moment she saw you, Brian. If she did, why wouldn't your classmates? After all, some boys approached you as if you were a girl, correct? I nodded in agreement, and then she surprised me with a suggestion. Why not attend school dressed and see what happens? Wear something exceptionally feminine, but remain true to yourself. Because I'll be ridiculed, that's why. Perhaps not. In fact, I'm willing to bet on the opposite. Then she simply instructed me to go for it. I'll help you find something to wear, Brenda. She emphasized Brenda as she exited the room, leaving no doubt that I would be attending school the next morning dressed as a girl. It was my worst nightmare unfolding. However, Jason intervened and changed everything. He had arranged for me to enroll in a private girls' school, starting the following day. That evening, I used a hair removal cream, indulged in a bubble bath, and meticulously shaved my entire body to ensure no stray hairs were left behind. Mom set my hair in rollers, while I painted my nails in a vibrant shade of red. The following morning, I rose early to shave as closely as possible before applying makeup in subdued hues and getting dressed. I chose an ensemble consisting of an all-white blouse adorned with lace trim and a sheer insert at the neckline, paired with a pink and white A-line skirt accented with gold details. Beneath, I wore clean panties, a padded panty brief, pantyhose, a plain white bra, and for luck, Jenny's waist nipper. A gold and pink belt complemented the skirt, and I completed the look with short white heels and a matching handbag. Opting for a soft red lipstick, Mom brushed out my hair, styling it with curls cascading down my back, secured with pink and gold barrette. With bangs swept to the side, I achieved a playful peekaboo effect, with the crown of my head styled in a high and voluminous manner. Mom drove me to the new school, where I completed all the necessary paperwork. We have many girls here, some of them just like you, Brenda, the administrator mentioned, prompting me to wonder what she meant until realization dawned upon me. I wasn't the only boy embracing feminine attire. In addition to your regular classes, you'll be participating in ballet, dance, and a mandatory aerobics class in the morning, she informed me. But, I can't. I stammered. Yes, you can, dear. All the girls take these classes, and so will you, Mom interjected, her giggles failing to offer much assistance. I'll be back to pick you up at the end of the day, Brenda. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Mom. As we stepped into this unfamiliar territory akin to ounce, I realized there was no tornado to whisk us back home. We were in for the long haul. Entering the school grounds felt relatively straightforward. However, stepping into my classroom proved to be challenging. I nearly bolted out of the school altogether, but with the administrator guiding me, I reluctantly entered the room, realizing that there was no turning back. All eyes fixed on me as I made my way to my desk and took a seat. We have a new student joining us today, Brenda Parker. Would you please stand, Brenda? I complied, feeling the weight of every gaze upon me as the teacher informed the class of my status as a new student and proceeded with the day's lessons. The scrutiny persisted throughout the day, and by the time dismissal approached, I felt drained from the constant tension. The next day I drove myself to school, armed with a leotard and some dance shoes plus all of my books. I was told by the administrator to see the nurse instead of going to class. Mrs. Carter was an older woman, short, grey hair, and the biggest chest I had ever seen. I was told that you need some special help, Brenda. Please disrobe and the doctor will see you in a moment. Her voice had a sharp edge to it, but when she handed me the thin gown and gestured toward the booth, I entered to change. The doctor, akin to Mrs. Carter in age, greeted me with a kindly smile that immediately put me at ease. We have a procedure here that we've perfected over time, and it's precisely what you require, Brenda, he explained as he conducted his examination. Then, inquiring about the timeline for my modeling venture, He added, "They mentioned a month for your modeling to commence, correct?" "Yes, that's what I was told. Why do you ask?" I responded. "We only need 2 weeks from start to finish, Brenda. Please lie back," he instructed. I barely felt the needle as it slipped into my arm. Over the next 2 weeks I was transformed into a female, one bit at a time. Each day he did something else, but he started with my voice. Using long thin tools he banded my vocal cords, raising my voice to a higher, more feminine pitch. After that came the laser hair removal, liposuction to make my waist smaller, small inserts to make my bust line a full, natural-looking a cup, collagen to make my lips just a bit fuller, and finally, he used the fat from my waist to make my hips rounder and fuller. By the time he was done, I had a 34-22-34 figure. All that remained of my old self was my obvious manhood. That lasted just one more day. When he was done, I had what appeared to be a normal, functional, female organ between my thighs. My male organs had been removed. Then he put me on hormones. It was truly a new sensation to not have something between my legs, but I was able to sit, walk, and look more feminine without it, and I could wear anything. I bought a bikini one day, and waited until Jeff was home and changed into it. When I walked out of my room, he almost choked when he saw me. 9 or so square inches of material doesn't cover much, and I was swelling out of the top while the cleft of my new sex could clearly be seen. "Do you like it?" My high, soprano voice was still unfamiliar to him, and his reaction was typical of most men. He got aroused. Chuckling, I retreated to change into my shorts and top. I proceeded with the modeling for the ad campaign, and as I attended ballet classes, becoming more flexible and graceful, I became increasingly conscious of the impact I had on the men around me. I went on my first date with Hank, one of the boys who had shown interest in me when I was with Jenny. Both of our hormones were raging, and although he managed only a grope on the chest, I knew it wouldn't be long before things escalated. Adapting to my feminine physique came naturally to me. It was mastering the walk and mannerisms that proved challenging. Ballet training endowed me with limber muscles, unveiling newfound flexibility and a graceful demeanor. I learned the art of styling my own hair, selecting appropriate attire, and mastering various feminine skills that seemed to come effortlessly to girls. With minimal need for makeup, I gradually reduced its usage, further enhancing my feminine appearance. Coupled with my higher-pitched voice, I never again found myself mistaken for a male. As I had expected, the second ad campaign I participated in was set on a beach. For the shoot, I was tasked with wearing a bikini selected by the team. During one session, Jeff unexpectedly appeared with a friend of his, observing as I posed in various seductive poses. He waved as I headed to change, and later introduced me to his friend, Steve. Clad in a pair of slacks and a sweater that hardly exuded allure, I noticed Steve merely smiling as his gaze lingered over my figure. "We're heading out for pizza, Brenda. Would you like to join us?" Standing behind Steve a bit, I saw Jeff nod his head yes, so I agreed. "Yes, I'd like that, Steve." I grabbed my purse and went with them, careful to stay close to Jeff. Over pizza, I told them that I had been asked to do a popular swimsuit edition calendar. "Are you going to do it?" Jeff sounded a bit shaken. "How can I turn it down? It's a real kick to get fan mail, Jeff. Think of all of the men that will see that calendar. It will help my career too. I think I'll be the first one in line to get a copy, Brenda." The grin on Steve's face said a lot more than his mouth did, but Jeff stepped in. "This is my sister Steve, you can look, but no touch. She isn't 18 yet." "Damn," Steve said, but he was still smiling at me when Jeff took me home. Mom insisted, so I had to sit through the mother-daughter talk. "Mom, I know that you can't get pregnant, Brenda, but there are still a lot of ways to please a man other than that, and I don't want you to do those either. Mom." I was embarrassed at how graphic Mom got after that. As my mother, I was surprised that she knew all of this stuff. Being chosen as one of the women featured in this calendar meant I would attract a lot of attention as soon as it was released, which posed numerous safety concerns. Once the location was decided, I was provided with 10 swimsuits to try on, all of them incredibly skimpy. They determined that I looked best in white, and thus I became Miss January. The way they positioned me left very little to the imagination, as nearly everything I had was accentuated, pushed up, or revealed to the maximum legal extent. I requested Jeff to accompany me, but he had exams and sent Steve in his place. Being in close proximity to him every day, nearly unclothed for most of the time, sparked various ideas in both of us, all of which related to the conversations I had with Mom and the topics she had strictly forbidden. At school I was a star, and 2 of the other girls revealed that were really boys. They did not know about me, they just wanted to tell me that I was what they wanted to become. I graduated in the summer, turned 18, then went to a private clinic to have my surgery, returning a few weeks later. It was a month before I felt like myself again. High on my list was to lose my virginity, to Danny of course, but Mom insisted that was not necessary. I had nothing to prove anymore. Not to her maybe, but to myself, and I let Danny take me to a motel and remove that ugly stain of virginity. Working as a model now, I no longer worry about discovery. You may even know my real name. It's